The Devil's Z by Ryan Happy Hands. A man comes back from a hard day at work. He was tired and didn't feel like doing anything extremely active. So he popped in his Forza 4 disc, got his racing wheel, and started playing. He was a bit short on good cars, so he went to the auction house to get a new car. As it was loading, he noticed it was taking a little longer than usual to load. When it loaded up, he noticed the only car came up. It was a blue, heavily tuned 1969 Nissan Fairlady Z. It was weird that only one car came up, as the screen was normally filled with cars of all kinds. To him it was a good thing though, as he really liked this car. When he entered the car auction page, he was shocked to see there were no bids and no seller. Thinking this was a glitch, he popped out into the auction listing, which remained empty apart from the Z. Then back to the cars page. It still had no bids, which he thought would be weird considering it's the only car in the normally busy house all at the time, and still had no owner. In the place of where the name should be was a white box, almost like when someone trying to blank something out. He thought this was very odd. But the weirdest thing was the price. Buy it with $0 in credits. Without thinking it through, he quickly got the car, worried that someone else might have taken this deal. He was really excited to use his car. But when he got to his garage, his mood changed. Every single car had been removed from his garage, except for the Z. He was first shocked, then angry. Although his understanding of Forza hacks was small, he did know that it was possible, and things like money and speed hacks are possible. But he'd never heard of a hack that deletes your cars. He started thinking that whoever sold the car to him covered up his name, then took all of his other cars, kind of like a forced trade. Annoyed by the thought of it, he realized he had nothing else to do but try out the car. Checking out the stats, he noticed that the top speed is a lot higher than he'd seen on cars of the same name. He knew there was no way a car like this could reach speeds like that. It's obviously a hacked car, but from the outside everything seems normal. So he thinks he can use this car online and beat a lot of unsuspecting people and make his money back. He starts to think things may be good with this, so he pops on a drag race, picks the Z, and starts a solo race. When the game loaded, music had been turned on, even though it had been off most of the time. He never turned on the music before, and when he tried to turn it off, only the master volume was there, rather than game music as well. Rather than starting the race instantly, he took a second to listen to the music. The eerie music was playing softly, and he was confused why someone would put such a slow song in a game about racing. But he had always had the music off, so he had no idea what the music was normally like. He took off down the mile-long track, and the music seemed to get softer on the engine, almost to the point that he couldn't hear it except for the beat. The Z was flying down the track at an insane speed, not so fast enough that it would be instantly called a mod online, so it was looking really good. The car passed the quarter-mile point, and it was the fastest he'd ever gone. Then all of a sudden, the racing wheel locked to the left, and the car flew to the guardrail. It hit the wall and flipped over twice in the middle of the track, then landed wheels down on the other side of the track. The car crumpled more than he'd ever seen on any car. Rattled by what happened, he blamed the wheel for the glitch. He then noticed that the song had begun to get louder, until it was loud as it was at the start. He thought all this was weird, and when he tried to move his car, it wouldn't move. He didn't. He knows he didn't put damage on, so something was definitely going on. He tried to turn the wheel, but the wheels didn't react. He couldn't see the driver because the windows were tinted and the view was locked in third person, so he couldn't tell if the driver was turning the in-game wheel or not. Thinking this is weird, he tried to quit, but the option was not highlighted, so he couldn't click it. The song continued, getting softer until it hit an odd note, then stopped, and the game quit to the main menu. Thinking this was really weird, he checked his garage and saw that the Z was there, but it wasn't repaired and was still crumpled up like before, and the eerie music was still playing. That was the point he decided to shut off the game, because what was going on insanely sketching him out. Not to mention somebody could be hacking his stuff through the car he bought, and he'd seen enough creepypastas to know where this is going. He decided to go onto the forums to see if anybody knew about this crazy thing. He posted a new thread explaining the weird stuff that had happened, like the crash and buying the car, but he didn't mention the car's name or the fact that it was modified, as he hoped to keep the car when the weird stuff passed. Some of the older members began to suggest things like restarting the game, deleting the card, deleting any personal information for his profile, like credit card numbers, as they didn't know the extent of the hack. But the man decided to wait until they came to an agreement on what to do before doing any of them. Then someone posted, "What car was it?" The thread went silent for 30 minutes before another member said, "There's no way it could happen again." Freaked out by this, the man decided it was his safety was more important than some car that's modified. So he typed in, "It's a blue Fairlady Z 1969." The thread exploded with a post saying, "Don't drive in real life." And he got the Z. Confused, he asked why he couldn't drive. A reply had a list of gamers of all the people who had got the Z. They'd all been killed in car accidents. Freaked out completely now, he thanked the members for telling him, then went upstairs to go to bed. He wasn't an easily scared man, but he trusted the people on the forum enough to be really creeped out. In the morning, his wife had already left for work. Wondering why she left so early, looked at his clock and noticed he was late. He knew he couldn't pull off getting out of work because some people on the forum told him he can't drive. Plus, he used up all his sick days, meaning he would have to go to a doctor who would obviously say he's not sick. He was one day late from being fired and he couldn't afford to lose his job over this. So he reluctantly got in his car, as waiting for a cab and a bus would be too slow. He began to pull out of his driveway, sweating like mad, and pulled up to a light, and pouring out was making him tense. As he drove, he began to feel a bit better, as nothing weird was happening. He was making a good time, and he knew he would have to go faster to get there in time. He popped on the highway, it was empty, he knew he could speed up with the lack of traffic, so he floored his BMW M3. He was making good time, and his car was going very fast. It might be the fastest he's ever gotten to work. As he finished that thought in his head, he knew exactly what was going to happen. The radio turned on by itself, and the eerie song began to play. He tried to slam the brakes, but the brakes weren't reacting. He tried the wheel, turned to the left, and he slammed into the guardrail, flipped twice, and landed on the other side of the road. He sat in his car, barely hanging on to consciousness. Everything had failed on the car. The headlights were out, and so was the engine. The man couldn't move. Not that he was trying to, as he was out of energy. Suddenly, the radio came on, playing the song again. But though the radio was cracked, he listened to the song play, and as it approached the end, he shut his eyes. The song hit an odd note, and then stopped. His fuel caught fire, and the car exploded. That was The Devil's Eve by Ryan Happy Hands.